How could an asthmatic boy born in the middle of the 19th century who suffered from severe abdominal and head pain transform himself and become the president of the United States? Let's find out. Hello everyone, Leon Castillo here, CEO and founder of Selfmastered. We help entrepreneurs scale their businesses by accelerating their cognitive performance. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We release a few videos every week to help people just like you achieve incredible goals at record speed. Today I want to discuss the story of one of the most exciting politicians that I have ever studied, and I believe is ranked in the top 5 presidents in the history of the United States. And I am talking, of course, about Theodore Roosevelt, the colonel of the United States Army, commissioner of the New York Police, governor of New York, and finally president of the United States. There are 3 secrets that Theodore Roosevelt leveraged to become who he became. Secret 1. Control HORMESIS as the source of high performance. See, HORMESIS is that process in which a low dose of a toxin or a stressor actually improves the system. In our terms, that's when you push outside of your comfort zone and trigger growth. And Theodore Roosevelt understood this intimately because he was born a very frail boy but harbored great ambition. And in order to transform his health, he very soon in his life undertook a severe training regime and learned horse riding, learned boxing, running, and all the sports that he could practice frequently in order to transform his body and deal with a severe health condition that he had been born with. By understanding this concept of HORMESIS and pushing the limits of his ability, or in this case, pushing the limits of his health via exercise, that's the stressor that he chose, he was able to transform himself and evolve into a higher performing version of himself. Secret number 2 is holistic understanding of the self, or systematic understanding of the self. See, for Roosevelt, it was very obvious that there was no such thing as the mind on the one side and the body on the other side. He was deep into the mind-body connection, the idea that all illnesses and physical conditions have a psychosomatic component, meaning that there's always an interplay between the body and the mind at everything that happens to us. And that interplay goes both ways. Most mental conditions can be effective and improved via physical conditioning and vice versa. Most physical problems can be overcome by using the power of the mind. And he was so clear about this that even once he overcame all his health problems of his youth and entered the army, he kept training and he kept improving his physical conditioning. And even when he became a president, he started to spar with famous boxers and invite famous sportsmen that he could exercise with in the White House in order to keep his mind sharp. He understood that the best decisions will always come after a training session. And he made the point of always working both sides at the same time, both the mind and the body, which proves an holistic understanding of high performance. And this is, in fact, one of the most important ideas, because if you think at the current state of the productivity world, most productivity and performance coaches focus on just one thing. If you're a performance coach, they focus on the mental aspect of performance. Or if they're a productivity coach, they focus on new tools or new systems or downloading Notion or tactics that do not bode well with the rest of the things they try. In our methodology, we understand that it's not only about changing the tools someone has to work with, but also changing the narrative, changing the belief system, optimizing the emotions, the physical, also the focus protocols, and the planning and execution protocols as well. By targeting everything, we make sure that we get the results we want. And that's exactly the same thinking that Theodore Roosevelt had when he was in office. And finally, and this is probably my favorite, number 3 is process over outcome. All top performers understand that what matters is not the goal you're chasing, but the process you are following. If you nail the process, the goals, the outcomes will take care of themselves. And it's the mark of the amateur to focus too much on the goal and being upset or unhappy if the goal is not reached. The true professional, the true top performer is always looking at the systems and processes that need to be followed and leveraged to attain those goals. There's an extremely beautiful quote by Theodore Roosevelt in a discourse that he gave in the La Sorbonne in Paris in 1913, I believe, that encapsulates this profound truth. That what matters is not the achievement of things, but the process that actually possibilitates that thing. And that extract is called The Man in the Arena. And I will read it. It says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." And this beautiful extract from that discourse proves that Theodore understood that process was more important than goals. That the inputs is what we can control and what we should be focusing on. It doesn't matter what you achieve. What matters is what you try to do and perfect, because that's what's going to bring you the results you seek. I hope this was useful. The story of Theodore Roosevelt is absolutely bonkers. I've read a few books about him, and please let me know in the comments if you've read books about him. What do you think about this high performance secrets that we have unveiled for all those lessons? And of course, if you want a proven framework on how to evolve into top performer and achieve an incredible goals in 90 days, sign up for the acceleration program and we'll see if it makes sense that we onboard you. See you in the next video.